Okay, so today is November 20th, 2024, and we're going to recap EXPCON in Miami 2024. And so I know several of you here went, and I really appreciate you coming because I think we all get different things out. And even, I know when some of us met in the hallway talking, I know I learned some things just from talking to you. And so I don't know if we're going to be able to do all this in one session like this because there is quite a bit, and so we'll try. So we'll do it. But I just want to hit like the highlights of everybody. I've got a couple pages of notes, but and I think it'll probably overlap with some of you. But I know Ray went, and I know Rob was there, and let's see who else was there. Kevin was there. Um, Anyone else on the call that I'm trying to look through to see? Was anybody else at EXPCon? Feel free to speak up. Um, okay. So, and I know several had listing appointments, different things today. Debbie Renna-Hines, she had a listing appointment right now at this time. She couldn't come, and several others. So, and so what I want to do is I want to first start off by saying that on our workplace chat group, Magnetic Wealth Experts, I just a little while ago posted several videos that I found. One being Leo Perez, the CEO, um, his state of the economy kind of type speech, which is really good. We'll share some highlights from that, but the whole speech is there. I highly, highly, highly recommend you go watch it because it's good content to have for your buyers and sellers about things that are going on right now and where he sees it in the next year and everything. So that's really good. There's another one from John Lee, and he was amazing. I'm so glad I found this video because he went so fast talking with a panel, and there was so much good tech stuff. And that's really good to watch. And on a YouTube video, you can slow it down and stop it and rewind it. And the other one was Glenn Sanford's opening remarks, comments. So I'll post some more as I find them, but I just happened to find those. So be sure and check those out because they're really good. So does anyone want to go first? Like like a class,
I'll go.
Rob,
Raise their hand. Rob, do you want to go first?
Yeah, let me go first to get it out of the way.
Rob's in Tampa.
Yeah,
I
I'm in
nominate
Tampa.
you, Rob.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. First, I just want to say I'm the worst note taker, and the second thing about me is that I have the worst memory. So those two things do not go well. But I will say the things that stuck out the most were Jesse Itzler for me. I love him. He's a ultra marathoner and entrepreneur who founded Zico, which was the coconut water brand where he associated with I think Mark Wahlberg or something like that. Anyways, long story short, his story was very inspiring. But the main takeaway that I got from the conference was the push for AI. There was several speakers that actually were talking about AI and how to implement it into your business and things other than just listing presentations. So I started to implement some of the things that they were saying and just some examples of that. I was showing Chuck last night. I was able to go into AI and within a matter of minutes come up with an itinerary for a vacation that my family's taking this weekend. We're leaving for Boston, and we've never been there before. And I was able to use AI to chart it out, chart the hotels, everything, flights, everything, within probably a 40-minute period of time, which is huge time saver. It not only would help in those kind of things, but what I've done since then with business is I can chart all my clients now in Chat GPT. I know where everyone is, what they're doing, all the information, all details, everything about the home. So it's not just listing descriptions. Also, I was messing around with it a little bit with doing listing descriptions where I would walk into the home and just record myself as I was walking through and just describe different things in a brief way. I'd say like stained glass window, built-in shelving, barn doors in the master bedroom, and go on like that, and then it will print it out in a really detailed, significant way. It's much better than it was a year ago, when we would use it, where you would use Chat GPT and everyone would know, oh, you're using Chat GPT. Now it's tailored to where it starts to learn about you. So it knows about me now. It knows what my hobbies are. It knows about my family. It knows, even if I was to say, send a text to my wife about how my vacation is or how EXPCon is going. It will say it knows to address my wife as Bud. That's my nickname for her. Hey Bud, I'm at EXP. I miss you. Blah blah blah. And it knows that now. So it starts to learn, and it's getting better and better. Real quick, bear with me for 1 second. I just want to see if I'm missing anything here. Um, oh, another thing is that you can teach it to teach you. In other words, I didn't know what prompts to give it to come up with what I wanted. So I literally can just say, teach me how to teach you how to come up with real estate TikTok scripts for 1 month. This is how I want them to come out. And then it tells you what your real estate scripts are. And I say, well, I don't want the catch in the beginning. Put that in the middle, and different things like that. I don't want an introduction of who I am in the beginning. Put it in the middle. It learns all that stuff. Um,
Didn't you also say
oh,
while you're looking, didn't you also say like as you're walking, whatever, you will be talking into it, telling it stuff so it learns more about you? And then
yes.
also, isn't this a paid version of an app that you're using?
I'm using the paid version of Chat GPT. I did start off with and anyone can start off with, you don't need to start with the paid version. You can start off with the regular version, and then when you run out of what happens is you run out of whatever the bandwidth that they allow for free, you can just upgrade then. And then I know you can also do this. You can upgrade, and then if you decide, oh, I don't want to use it for a little bit, you can also unsubscribe and then come back later, and it saves all your information. So it remembers everything. Um, it remembers everything about everybody, and it's universal. It shares information also.
And
Um,
how much is that part that
uh,
you upgrade to?
for the pro is 20
20,
a month.
20 a month.
It's already paid for itself. I mean, it's the technology is so amazing. You can also add prompts into it and ask it questions like, what are the top three hashtags for TikTok or Facebook, whatever platform you're on, you can ask it. So what are the top three hashtags for a real estate listing, let's say, and it'll give those to you. Um, it can design speeches for you. If I had a speech I had to do, a presentation, and it designs it. And if it's too detailed or whatever, for me it was too detailed. I said, uh, simmer it down. I use my own language. Just simmer it down into very easy to read bullet points. Boom, it does it. And then I can say, well, add some more detail. Then you can add it. You can also ask it questions that are available. Anything that's available on the web, it can answer that question. So, in other words, let's say you wanted to look into a listing. You can also ask it questions about maybe that a buyer's interested in. You can ask it about that listing and ask it about the neighborhood and become educated about the neighborhood that you may not be familiar with if you're taking a buyer onto a tour, if that makes sense.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
a current listing, like right now.
yeah. So if there's a current listing out there, you're taking a buyer out there, hey, ask it before you go out. Hey, tell me about this neighborhood. Tell me about some of the benefits of it. Tell me about accessibility to highways and airports and shopping and whatnot.
That's really interesting. And then the other thing you told me is like you could say, give me all of my list of all my sellers in the last 12 months, and it would push out a whole list, their address, their name, phone number, everything. And that's because you input the information in.
Yep. The more information, so the more you play with it, and the more stuff you tell it, the more information you can get from it, and you can categorize it in any way you want. So you can have current buyers, current sellers, current clients in general, past clients, potential clients, and you just tell it what your preferences are, and it starts to learn that.
Another thing I just thought of years ago, I remember an advertising agency that I used told us to in our contact history, our data for our clients to make notes about if they were really into playing golf or eating at great restaurants, always want to know new restaurants or whatever that it was their interest. So that made me think you could do that too. You could say, tell me all my clients that were interested in, you know, whatever just happened recently. And then you could, text them and say, wasn't that interesting? What happened with that situation, like the fight the other night or whatever, something that would help you, be able to reach out and make a contact. So that's really good to know because, when ChatGPT first came out, it only knew things up to, 2019 or something. So it's very come a long way, obviously.
It definitely come a long way in the last year. There's also anything you can probably think of that you would usually type out, you could have it do it for you and it comes out better. So where it was lacking last year, when you would ask it a question like, do an email for me, and it made it look so fake, it doesn't do that any longer. It takes the collective dumbness of America and puts it all together. So it dumbs it down a little bit to where it's not completely, I don't know. I'm so dumb I don't even know how to explain it. But it works well for a guy like myself.
Well, you're right. It works great. And I will say probably 90% of agents, maybe 95% or more, use it just to create a description. And you can now tell when it says, welcome to 23450, whatever place or something. They're like these canned descriptions that, are there. But so I think most agents, my point is, are just using it for that. And it's just got so much more to use. And I'll add something else when I get to my notes about that as well. Anything else? Takeaways?
Well, just on that note, like let's say you don't like it when it says welcome to whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can tell it from now on when I ask you for a listing description, do not put in welcome to blah, 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 blah. And it'll remember that.
And you can also edit it real easy, change a word or, an adjective or whatever you want. Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah. That's all I can think of right now. I mean, that was the biggest takeaway. Of course, there was a ton of networking that went on, and um, Miami Beach was much nicer than I remembered it from years ago. So,
So everybody, if you want to write down the name Jesse Itzler, it's Jesse Jesse, and the last name I like Indian Tzler, and just Google him and you'll hear him talk. And he was phenomenal. Great story on the coconut tree, and I'm sure it's in his talks and how that all happened
Yep.
with the coconut water with Coca-Cola and yeah, that was an amazing story. So Google that, and I'm sure it'll come up because it really is a great story to just think of for every day. Okay, what else? Who wants to go next?
I'll
Maybe.
go.
We're all going. Okay, Renee, did you say yes? You're on mute. Renee, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I said what I was really excited about was all the technology. There's so much of stuff out there that you didn't know because you didn't know. You didn't even know it existed. Um, One of the things that I bought while I was out there was called Pivo, Pivo, and you pay for a year. They had a discount at EXPCON. It's still going on. If somebody wants the code, I can give it to you. But basically what it is it's an attachment that goes on your phone that helps you with video using AI. So you tell it, I want to create a video about, say, I'm standing at Armature Works in Tampa and the real estate development around Armature Works. AI will research it, give you the captions, and make it, and you say, make it a 3-minute video, 5-minute video. It will do all of it for you, create a green screen behind you with the captions up on your phone. I thought that was
Wow.
amazing because you can do it with listings. You can do it. You can say, give me 5 seller tips in selling in a down market. And you can talk about that. But it literally writes all the scripts for you. And what's really cool, it has eye tracker. So you can sit here with the phone in front of you, but it's not like you're reading. It actually follows your eyes and will move it around. They'll create a background that is whatever you want it to be, but it's called Pivo. I thought that was a really great tool. I'm still learning a lot about it, but I did purchase it and I thought that was great.
And how much is it?
It was, I want to say it was $7.99 for
Okay.
the year. And it partners with Big View, if anybody knows what that is. which is another video service as
Mhm.
well. And that's included with the purchase amount. Okay. I think it's like $1,000 normally, and there was like a $200 off event.
So
Yeah.
this is
And
really
then,
helpful if you're doing video content.
yes, it is. It's very helpful, especially if you don't like to be on video and you just don't know what to say. It's great because it does it all for you. And the other thing is that I purchased while it was there was Real Grader.
Yeah.
I had used them 2 years ago in Orlando when EXP was in, what was that, shareholders a couple years ago. I'd purchased it, and what they do is they go through your entire every single profile you have on social media, and they make it streamlined. So you look the same, you are the same, your tagline's the same, your websites are the same in every platform that you use, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X. Whatever it is, they're all the same. But what this does, this is a different program. It's called the influencer program. And what it does is it puts out content for you daily. It literally posts for you on Instagram and Facebook daily. It does YouTube twice a week, and it's all real estate related, and you can put your own hashtags in there. You can curate the post. If you don't like what they're saying, you just don't use it, or you can create your own as well. And what's really nice is you get to go to one place and it'll push it out to all of your social media. So you don't have to literally create a video and then I'm going to post the video on LinkedIn, then I'm going to go post it on YouTube, then I'm going to go post it on my Facebook page. It does it all for you in one pot, in one place. So I thought the technology being there, just learning a lot of different things was great. For a long time, I was a buyer's agent before I came to EXP. Um, and one of the classes I was talking about, this is just a tip, it was talking about open houses. And one of the things from a very successful agent, they were talking about was using orange signs and a minimum of 25 signs for an open house. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds ridiculous. Who's going to put out 25 signs? Signs. This is crazy. And what they were talking about was brand notoriety and the difference between using an EXP sign that has a black background or a white background versus an orange background, and how you associate orange with a construction worker. So you automatically slow down because of the color of the sign, which draws more attention to your listings. So if you are in the market for new signs, just a little tip that was one of the things that they said. KV Core is going to transition to Bold Trail. If you guys don't know that, it's going to get a whole new facelift. It's going to be much more user friendly and intuitive. The platform will be the same with functionality, with more things coming to make it better. So that's coming sometime in the next, I think they said 6 months. I'm not sure. I don't know if you know more on that, Chuck, but
I know.
it's supposed to look a lot better, be more user friendly, and just souped up version, still included in the cost. I'm sure all of you guys know we get Canva Pro now for free if you haven't heard that. And they did send an email last week if you didn't get it, if you have a Canva Pro account now and what's going to happen and the transition and how that's all going to work. That came out last week. I saw an email from corporate about that.
I think that's December 6th.
December 6th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, those of us that are paying for Canva Pro, I don't know if you're going to be able to do the email. It sounded very specific to like EXP forms and data. I don't know if you're going to be able to do everything without having your own pro account. I don't know. We'll have to play with that once we get it to see what what functionality it has that allows it. I mean, it says it's the pro version, so hopefully that's going to save a bunch of people a bunch of money.
Do you use Canva Pro right now?
I do. I use it a lot for.
Do you really like it?
I use it like when I go on a listing presentation, everything that I have that I leave with my sellers, I create in Canva Pro. And I like it. I use it and it streamlines. So, my fonts are all the same. My headers are all the same. The typeface is all the same. So I do. But if you have things saved in Canva Pro, you're going to be able to port them over. to the EXP version. So you won't lose anything. And I think, go
Is that
ahead.
it? No, I was going to comment on something else, but go ahead if you got something.
No, go ahead. That's pretty much it. I mean, the classes were fantastic.
I was going to say, Real Grader, that's also the electronic card, right?
Yes. So if you do the influencer program or you do I can't remember what the other one is, their social media cleanup, they will give you the digital card for free. It's a great way to ask for reviews. So the digital card lives on your phone. It's literally you tap it, you can request a review right there. You can send somebody's contact information, or there you go, you can import somebody's contact information. He's got it up.
Yeah, Kevin's got it. I've also got it. I bought it last year, and I use it really primarily because they didn't have some of the things you're talking about, but primarily as just my Instacard. And as soon as I meet somebody, because I learned many years ago at something that I heard was, never hand out a business card, because when you hand that out, people put them in their pocket or whatever. And I know from me personally, they probably won't get into where they're supposed to go, and they end up in the trash. So I think that's a great thing. So I've always said, when people say, "Do you have a card?" I say, "Oh, no, I don't. I'm out, but let me just share my information." And you text it right away. They can take a picture with the QR code, or you can just text your whole content to them, and it comes up in a text. And then on there, like you're saying, they can click on all of your social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. And then the other thing was, you talked about referrals. I love that. And what I also remember from the conference last year, when I was sitting in on that, was like, if you're going on a listing presentation, you can either send that in advance so they can see who you are, or I also loved it that when you're leaving, if they say, they're talking with 2 or 3 other agents, you could say, "Oh, well, I'll tell you what, let's see how much social media presence they have. Here is mine," and they flash that out and show them all the different things, and then say, "Let's Google those names." You either do it with them or tell them to do it later. And as we all know, most of those agents wouldn't have anything. So you really got some good content right away going into a listing appointment or going out of it, because I remember one time I was on a listing appointment, and the seller said to me, "Okay, I've talked to you and 2 others," and I knew who the 2 others were. And he goes, "You've all told me the same exact thing. What's the difference you have?" And I said, "Well, 1, I have a sign in my trunk, put in the yard right now. 2, I have the contract right here in person. We can sign it. And 3, I have a light that goes on my sign at night, so it's lit up. And I doubt those other agents have that." And he goes, "You're right," and signed with me. So yeah, check out Real Grader, RealGrader.com. Good. Okay. And I know, Doug, you have a appointment you're trying to go on shortly. Do you want to give your points?
Yes, sure. Yeah, I mean, just to follow up, Jesse Itzler, I was super impressed with, as you know, Chuck, and I started to follow him, and he had some exercises that you could interact and do, and some videos, and I was very impressed by his motivation and what he's accomplished. Some of the kind of triggers that he said were something he calls no DNS, meaning did not finishes. Basically, if you don't start, so you'd have to start. He has no did not finishes. He starts everything and he keeps going, and he finishes, and that was super impressive to me. One of the quotes that he said was that luck happens when you put yourself in a situation where the universe rewards you. And I thought that was a very motivating thought, at least for me. So I was very impressed with him. I would suggest following him. I think that I get his emails now as well. There's a variety of other things that he talks about that I think are interesting, that y'all might find interesting too. One of the things he talked about, and Chuck, I know, is big on this too, and I've always tried to do this, and I could be better, as I think we all can be better at most things or many things, but handwritten letters and the impact that a handwritten letter has on the recipient. I've always tried to do that with thank you notes and things of that nature. It's just kind of how I was raised, and so I try to keep doing that. But he takes it to another level, where he'll take a handful of his contacts every month, and he will just write them a letter or a note, just a handwritten note, just saying hello, or why he admires somebody, or thank you for taking me to lunch or what have you. It could be whatever it needs to be. The point of it is that people will open something that they receive that is handwritten as opposed to a typed font. And another quote that we often say is from Maya Angelou, how people will forget the things that you do and say, but they won't forget how you make them feel. And there is something about that feeling when you receive something that's handwritten. And I think it's very powerful, and it's very simple and easy to do and doesn't take a lot of time, and it goes a long way. So that was something else that he said that I thought was really powerful. Brian Carruthers was another speaker, and I bought the book. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm going to be traveling next week and I'm going to read it. This particular book called Untrapped. It's a freedom manifesto, become an entrepreneur to escape the grind and find freedom and happiness. He talked a lot about attraction. And in this book, apparently, and I'll let you know when I read it, that there is some information about attraction. And that's something that, we really try to focus on in our group. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Brian Carruthers is his name, and we can, send the information. It's just briancarruthers.com, to be honest. I haven't read it yet, but stay tuned. I'm happy to give feedback once I do. That was something else that was important to me. The other quote that I heard, and it's kind of sat with me, said, "It's not the strongest or most successful that survive, it's the most adaptable." And I think that we as humans get stuck, and I think we get comfortable, and I think that we aren't always adaptable. And in this ever-changing world that we are living in, literally changing by the minute or the hour, we are forced to adapt on many levels. And I think when it comes to real estate and how we approach it and how we handle our clients, we have to adapt, and we have to look to them and react in different ways for everyone. And I think that that is how we survive. We're strong, we're here, we're fighting the good fight every day. And I believe that we're all successful. But in order to survive, we have to really think about, what does adaptable mean to us, and how does that work in our world, both professionally and personally. That was a really important quote, and that sat with me. So those are some of my takeaways.
Good. So tell me again, that quote was, luck happens when you put yourself.
The last one?
No, the one before last. Luck happens
it,
when you put yourself
sorry,
in a situation.
I'm in my car. 1 second. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Luck happens.
It is not the strongest or most successful that survive. It's the most adaptable.
Okay, so there's
Before
that
that,
one.
you said something like, it was
The
Luck
first
is where
quote
you
I
put
said,
yourself.
is the intersection
Yeah, the
of
first quote.
opportunity and
the
preparedness.
first quote was, luck happens when you put yourself in a situation where the universe rewards you.
So true.
Yep, it is.
And that's why we always just got to push ourselves to just get out there. The older we get, I can tell you that, the less you want to do sometimes. But I know one time many years ago, when I was really kind of a brand new agent, when I went to the grocery store and met somebody that parked next to me because we came out at the same time, and it was kind of funny, and we started talking. And that client, I did like 18 transactions over the next 20 years because of that person, personally with him, and also what he referred me. So if I hadn't gone to the grocery store that day, if I'd ordered Instacart or something, of course we didn't have it at that time, but I'm just saying, even today, not getting out, I would miss out on something like that. So
yeah,
it's such a true statement, that is so true. Yeah, Brian Carruthers is really good. I've heard him speak before, and I've read one of his books. And even if you're not interested in attraction, you can apply the same theory to your clients. It's about nurturing, basically.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
Sure.
Okay. Who else? Kevin?
Yeah, sure. I'm a new agent this year, so I'm looking for all kinds of guidance. And, you can go down a rabbit hole with advice and strategies and everything else and just never execute. But what I got from EXP, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. Going into it, I've been to many conferences, so understood the format, understand you're there to learn and network, and that was the primary purpose of it all. What I got out of it was my 2025 annual business plan. That's what I got out of it, and I've already started executing on it immediately when I got home. So, um, first of all, I wanted to walk away with some kind of certification from the conference. So I got certified in revenues and relocation. Took a couple of their sessions, and so that's easy to do. Revenues is pretty much the institutional investment. It's real estate, but institutional banking. And I probably won't go down that path because it's very transactional and it takes a long time to build up. And I think I could use my time better. The relocation, anytime I can help someone, acclimate themselves to a new town and home, that's something that I'd absolutely love. So, to help corporate relocations, that's great. I learned a lot about that. In the chat, I am posting, I won't talk about it since everyone else did, but I'm posting all the AI and technology that was mentioned or came up, that some of it I'm using, some of it I haven't looked at. But what I really got out of it is that, this year I did pretty well. But I need to continue to work on my online presence as an expert in real estate, and being new at that, that's kind of hard to do, right? So as Chuck and Renee, you mentioned RealGrader. I signed up for RealGrader for all of their free services that they do. And absolutely, because I do post every day, and it's a pain to post on every single platform every single day, and they don't look the same. They don't have the congruence of a brand, and so I'm building a brand, and I need to be aware of that. And I come from marketing, so I better make sure that it's all online. So the RealGrader was really great. If anybody would like to more information on it, they can reach out to me. But so that also just Googling yourself and as a business and seeing what comes up, because nothing came up for me because I'm brand new. A lot of stuff from my old career and Instagram LinkedIn posts, pages, but nothing Kevin Stone Realtor. Now, if you Google Kevin Stone Realtor in Palm Springs, you're going to see a lot of stuff up there now. And also inside there is where you can get the reviews that you need. And they don't necessarily have to be buyers or sellers. They could be people that you've interacted with in a business type format. Just, hey, Kevin's great. He's really smart and he's intelligent about this. You should definitely talk to him if you need help with this. And that's how you get your reviews on Google Business. So that was really great. I bought one of these because I did come from advertising. This is called a DJI Pocket Cosmo 3. It's a vlog camera. And if you were at EXP, this is what they documented and recorded every single session with, is one of these little DJI cameras. They're $700 and they're amazing. I also took ordered a personal online camera, in front of camera training class from Blended Sense, which is our video partner at EXP. They're the ones that did all the video recording at the EXP conference. So I learned how to be better. And also, if you're afraid to be in front of the camera and talking to people, just start doing it. Just start doing it, and don't sit at a desk and do it. If you're going to do it, walk around with your little camera, your phone, and take pictures, because your body feels more natural moving than sitting around. So, that's what my goal is next year, is to be more present, to project myself as that expert, real estate expert online. The Real Grader right now is posting daily for me. And I immediately got calls from friends going, "Hey man, that was a really great article you did on rugs or lighting or on kitchen stuff." And I mean, like 3 calls in the first day, I can't hear you, Chuck.
I said, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good stuff there. Jesse Eitzler was great. I had everyone else's quotes, but the one that stood out for me was "empty your soul." And it really resonated with me. It's like, why are we here? Why are we doing this if we're not going to do our very best? If we're not going to if we're not going to swing for the fences, why are we even coming on, to these meetings, and are we pretending to learn? What are we doing? But really empty your soul out in your day. And that's what I plan to do. I plan to give it my all and swing for the fences. And yes, I'm going to fail, but I'm going to succeed too. So I thought that was the most important quote that I heard there. Also, he said, if you really want people to respect you, he goes, you got to treat them with respect. And the best thing that you can do is compliment, congratulate, and console people. Those are the 3 C's. Compliment, congratulate, and console people. Just back to what Doug said with Maya Angelou. They'll forget what you do, what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And then he also said, awareness times attention equals income. So, opportunity and preparedness is luck. Awareness plus attention generates income. So if you can bring awareness to something, if you can get the attention of someone's going to call you, and it's going to turn into income for you, which I thought was great. I know I'm going back and forth, but it's kind of important. Social media is not just your Facebook and your Instagram account. It's your Google My Business. It's your realtor.com. It's you should have, and this is what they said, what I learned was for Facebook, you should have a personal and a business account. For Instagram, probably you could merge both of those into one, but you should have maybe 1 to 10 different Facebook business accounts, depending on who you're targeting and what you're targeting people focusing on. Are you focusing on first-time buyers? Are you focusing on vacation, second house, vacation homes? What is it that you want to get out there with your business? What are the 3 things that you want to focus on, and have 3 different Facebook pages for each one of those. And it can be Kevin Stone Homes Vacation. It can be Kevin Stone Home Investment Properties. But so I'm going to try that at some point. Let's see what else with the new rules with NAR and everything else. They said it would be I haven't done it yet, but it said be prepared to have a menu of your services from full service to transactional. So from 3% to down to like 1.5%, what you're going to offer, and have it ready and available for people. I thought that was pretty interesting. As someone that is a high I, and also,
what do you mean by that? Because some people may not know.
So in the DISC profile, I'm a high I, so high influencer. And then I also have D in me as well, which is dominance. So some of the challenges that I faced in my sales this year are that I like to convince people to do stuff instead of guiding them and supporting them. And Bye. Bye, Aurelia. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. So instead of guiding them and supporting them, I'm trying to make the decisions for them and trying to figure out how I can coerce them into making the decision that I would make. And that's not what I should be doing at all. And so, I really did listen for that and learn that in one of the sessions um, at EXPCON. And there's a couple of different strategies that I found interesting that I might try. One of them is an open house strategy. This one successful realtor said, I don't take condos. I don't take anywhere that has an HOA gate. He goes for listings. He goes, I use no sign, opposite of you, Renee, no signs for open houses. He goes, just make sure that you post in your MLS a week before, use your social media, and then the people that you're going to get in that open house are the real buyers. And so the people that have nothing to do with their day and see your open house signing and go in. So I thought that was interesting approach. See how that works. See how, it might be a test on how many realtors are using, MLS for open houses. Another one that he said is to do 5 to 8 1-hour open houses on Saturday and Sundays. He goes, if you don't have a listing called, your EXPHs that do and say, hey, I'll volunteer to do a listing for 1 hour for you on Sunday, and do exactly that. Just post it in your MLS for 1 hour and then move on to the next listing and do the same. Try to do 5 to 8 of those over the weekend. He said you'll get more response from that than you will from putting out all your signs, sitting in an open house for 4 hours to get that one person that you want. He goes, you're going to get that one person because people that are serious about buying homes are going to look at the MLS, they're going to look at the open houses, and they're going to go to it regardless. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's enough.
Okay, well, I got a couple of comments on some of those, like the open house, talking about doing a lot of open houses for a shorter amount of period. I met an agent recently, and he told me it was a lot. It was like, this is 22-4. It was just a couple months ago when I met him, and he said, I've done 200 open houses this year. And I said, there's only 52 weeks in a year. It's kind of what I thought to myself. I said, really? How? And it was kind of the same thing. It was just different days of the week. And this guy was doing very well. And because if you Google an agent, and you should Google yourself and see, just put your name in, comma, or whatever, realtor or whatever, and see what comes up. And so I looked up like his on Zillow, had his sales and everything. He had quite a few sales. And the other thing that impressed me about him was he was part-time. He had a full-time job. And then I laughed and said something about, being single or something. He goes, nope, have a, girlfriend, significant other, whatever. He goes, but we're determined to, save money, buy property, whatever it was, his goals and dreams. And I just thought, wow, sometimes we can't even give away an open house opportunity, and this guy's doing, a ton of them. It's like 200. It was like 4 times the number of weeks in the year. But I like that point. And I know Renee's session said 25 open house signs. And if that's too many for you, even 10, I know it's always been taught as like the key thing. And you think, oh, it only needs to be certain corners. It could be further away. It's all about branding for that. And the other thing I was going to say with Kevin, with the Facebook page and the personal and the business page. So a business page, from what I've always researched, and I agree too, is that a business page will never get activity on it, probably, unless you drive people to it. So, you can get people that like your business page or whatever, but they're never going to see it. I know I don't see all the business pages I've joined, but if you're going on an appointment to a listing, or you have a buyer consult coming up or something, that's where you would drive them to that, and they would see it. And then, like Kevin said, the different things like first-time buyer or rental properties or vacation properties or whatever, and then load that up with content on that to where you look good. And as we all know, people aren't going to scroll down very far. It's not like you got to have tons of pages, but I think the point is to have the content. and I want to, I'm be anxious to see, Kevin, how you use that camera that you bought,
Yeah.
you know, and I want y'all, let me ask you, Kevin, this is your first year, 2024. So including what's going to close at the escrow, because I know you got a couple things with that. What's your sales for the first year in being a realtor? Total, you know, total sales volume.
Definitely 7.5 million, could be 8.3.
Okay, so let's say 8 million first year, everybody, you know, so that's amazing. And I think that, you know, somebody asked me the other day something, I can't remember how it came up, but I said, whenever I want to be something or do something or be successful, I, you know, want to mimic whoever that is. And so, you know, Kevin, obviously first year in the business, you know, is killing it. And so I know he really did great with reaching out to his SOI and telling his best friend he needed to get a bigger house because his house was too small, and he just bought it like 2 years before. And, you know, kind of like that little intimidation thing. And then that led to, you know, one or two other referrals from that client and so on and so forth. And so, and then he goes to EXPCON, whereas a lot of people would say, oh, I'm not going to EXPCON because I don't have the money. And I also heard somebody recently say, oh, I don't like Miami. And I thought it could be in Bakersfield, California, or I'm trying to go to cities and states. It doesn't matter. You're going to learn. You know, in fact, when I go to those things, I rarely do anything else. I'm just slammed trying to go to every session and meet people and everything. But it's really, I mean, I think you agree that it was worth it, what you
Oh,
what you got out of it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Renee, you too. Rob, you too. I know you go to all of them. So I'll say that next year it's going to be in Miami again, and at the convention center, which was interesting this year because usually we're in a host hotel and you just go straight from your room down. And so this was interesting. Kind of got you out a little bit more, but the dates are October 19th to the 22nd. And you even want to maybe go a day earlier because there are things that start a day early that aren't officially on the events page until like 2 days before the event or something. There's all kinds of stuff going on. So I highly recommend it. You sign up. If they do it like they did last year, you pay like $250 down, and then you can pay it out over the course of a year. And if you don't end up going, usually you can sell your registration or get out of it up to a certain time. But I've never missed one. That was my 10th one to go to. And I can tell you, I would not have the success I have, and I feel like I have success if I had not gone to events, even with the other companies I was with. Same thing, because you meet people, the relationships we make with people, and when you're around people and you're hearing things and people talking about stuff, it's a lot. Now, I'll say there's the other thing, and I'm sure y'all will agree with me on this. You got to implement what you learned, you know, and that's kind of the challenge too, you know. And so with my notes, it was talking about, you know, don't try to do too much. Pick 1 to 2 things you can do really well and focus on that, and then add another. You know, so if it's video or, you know, blogging or whatever, I think that's very important. And I know this has nothing to do with EXPCon, but you got to put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And I learned that from Hank, I think, years ago. You gotta put it in there, you know. And so if it's posting or whatever you're going to do. So the speaker that nobody talked about that I can share is Will Guidara, and he is the #1 restaurant in the world. And I thought this was a great tip. He said, when you're at your listing and you're showing it, open up the refrigerator every time you go, or several times when you go, and take a picture of what's inside the refrigerator. And then when you have your closing for their purchase, you're going to sell them something, you can stock the refrigerator with their favorite things. And I will tell you this, if my agent stocked my refrigerator with Diet Dr. Pepper or Dr. Pepper Zero, and I open up that fridge and I see that, that would be like huge to me. And I know it sounds funny, but I've even had a couple people in my lifetime that have given me like a 12-pack for a birthday present, and I can still remember who that is. So, you know, you don't have to stock the whole fridge, but just the certain things, maybe their favorite drink or, you know, whatever, milk or, you know, whatever it is. And I know some of us, when we were talking about that, said, you know, they bring like a basket the day of moving with toilet paper and paper towels and the things you don't think about. But I love that idea. So Will Guidara, he had, so apparently when this award that you get for the 50 top sales or 50 top restaurants, you go and you don't know what your number is going to be. And so the first year he went, they called out number 50 and called out his name in his restaurant. And he was kind of like, I'm number 50, you know, the lowest one in the whole room. And he said, of course, the camera knows to pan right where you are because they know who it is. And they get that look on your face, you know, and somebody teased him about that after that. And then eventually, I don't know how many years it took, I can't remember, but he was number one. And so he said several things that he did. He goes, when people would write reviews or talk about his restaurant, they never really ever talked about what they ate. It wasn't, they couldn't remember what they ate, what they ordered, but they remembered the experience. And an example he gave was a family from South Africa was visiting, and there was this huge picture window overlooking Central Park, and it started snowing. And he arranged, that was the first time they saw snow, the kids, and he arranged for 2 sleds and a thermos of hot chocolate to be delivered to the hotel and ready to go when they were leaving, you know, in their car to take them to sled. So it was like just the experiences. And he also talked about, you know, people getting engaged in their, you know, special room or whatever. And they had, you know, champagne glasses from Tiffany's and had like, you know, 100 boxes of 2 champagne glasses. But they'd pull that out and it was special to them. And people would totally remember that. And they remember they got engaged at his restaurant and how special that was, but they didn't necessarily remember what they ate. So if you just Google him, Will Guidara, and it's Guidara, just Google him and you'll see videos on him. And he also has a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, The Remarkable Power of Giving People More Than They Expect. So that is huge. And just that alone, I was listening to a podcast last night of my first manager who went on to become president of Coldwell Banker and all of this. And she's 88 years old and she's still selling, and she coaches 17 clients and then has sales, and she does, you know, multi-million-dollar properties. And she said in the very beginning, it's all about relationships with people. So let's see, we already talked about Brian Carruthers. He said mentorship is everything. Who you hang around with matters. I just can't tell y'all how true that is. There are certain people, if I hang around, I'm going to be, you know, thinking one way, and others, it's going to be like, okay, we can do this. This is great. You know, just why not? You know, so that is so true. EXP is the only independent brokerage in 24 countries, and the 3 new countries we're opening up in is Egypt, Peru, and Turkey in the next several months. By the way, there was a huge presence of all the countries there. And then this was really good. Beth Adams is the broker in EXP broker in Arizona, one of them. And this is one of the breakout sessions that I went to. And she talked about to ask your clients what benefit or value did they have from working with you. And she said she thought it was going to be like follow up or, you know, availability or timeliness or got us the right house or whatever. She said the most important thing that they all said was they really liked the list of vendors of resources that she provided. Painters, electricians, dog walkers, you know, dog sitters, all these things, her whole long list was what they all liked. And those of us in LA, I'm already working on that list, and Palm Springs. So we'll have it for us. So that's something everybody can do. And I used to have that years ago. And I would also put my clients on the list for their services. And then I would hear, you know, they say, oh, so-and-so came in and, you know, saw me today. And they said they saw it on your website. So it was just reinforcement all the way around. Let's see. Oh, find the pain point of your client, sell the solution, solve the pain point of your clients. And I'll say this too, we've got a listing right now that's closing in a couple of days. And this seller is so, you know, nervous, neurotic. We for example, we were going to show the house like at 6 o'clock, and then we had an add-on appointment. We can come at 5:30, and that just freaked him out. And Doug and I both said, what? The house is ready. It's not like they're working. I mean, it's like, and so I told Doug, I said, you know what? This is the type of person that's very structured, for whatever in their mind, and that throws them. So we got to watch this. So when somebody calls, we can't just say, oh, yeah, well, add you on, whatever. We got to check and make sure, and we need to do all this. So anyway, so we're closing Friday, and the buyer's agent is doing the walkthrough. So he made the appointment with me and with us, and then we texted the seller who was supposed to be out, already moved out and everything by tomorrow. And he texts back, ooh, this is horrible. Movers were late. I'm like swamped. Boxes, it won't even be clean. And so I thought, we got to not do this tomorrow. So I just said to the agent, I said, call me. And we talked to him. I said, listen, this is tough for tomorrow because what's happened. We're going to do it the next day. My point is, if we had just said, oh, this is what it has to be, because this is what works, that's kind of how sometimes we all get sometimes, that would have been one of the last things probably this client remembered about the transaction, rather than we moved it another day, you're going to be gone, it's going to be nice, easy. So I just think sometimes we get so caught up in all of this that we do that we forget about, helping the person. So here's another name you want to write down, philstringer.com. Phil, Phil, Stringer, like a string of yarn, STRINGER.com. You just go on his website, and there's one thing you can click for free. And of course, he's going to, email you later for listing stuff. But win every listing with AI buyer targeting. So I did it. I put in my address, and it just gave me all these bullet points. Some of the stuff, maybe not so much, but if you had that in a listing presentation, you show the seller, this is who we're looking for your house to sell. And it said certain things, and it's a price point. And when I put in, a higher price point, it talked about luxury buyers, and then it knew the area because I put in, my address in Fort Lauderdale, and it knew there was water nearby, so it said yachting and all these things. So that's really cool. So make sure you check that out. It just creates a free example for your listing presentation. And the other thing you can do on there is 10 ChatGPT prompts to increase revenue, productivity, and efficiency. Just things to help you to do that. Somebody you want to follow on Workplace and Instagram and Facebook, but you can find her first on Workplace. Carrie, and her last name is S as in Sam, OAVE. And then she was on that video that you go to our Workplace, My Property Expert, or Wealth, Magnetic Wealth Experts, and the John Lee video. I think he was interviewing her, and you'll hear her talk, and then just follow her on Instagram. All these people just copy what they're doing, copy their content. They don't care, and they've all said that too. I'm not saying this out of school here. An app that was really good to connect your Chat GPT to your Gmail that can actually draft your replies to your emails at the end of the day. You can just go in and edit which ones you want. I thought that was cool. Zapier, Zapier. Gamma, GAMMA, is one for presentations. Another favorite app was Opus Clip, OPUS Clip, and that takes a long video and analyzes it to social media data and finds the most relevant part of the video and clips it into small segments like reels. Captions app is an AI-powered video creative studio that allows you to generate and edit engaging video at scale. And VoicePal was the last one, an AI-generated ghostwriter content. So as you know, as we've talked about, a ton of this is all about AI and Chat GPT, and we just got to embrace it, So I know that, there's some more things that we didn't cover. Some people couldn't be here today, so we may do another one of these calls, but I hope everybody found value, and I hope you'll sign up to go next year. That was one thing I kept thinking while I was sitting there. I should have pushed and encouraged more people to go to this, because you just don't know what you're missing, if you're really serious about having a productive career. And I think if we're serious, we can get done in 2 hours what sometimes we spend 8 hours doing. And and it's all about saving more time and leveraging ourselves. And so anyway, thank you everybody for coming on. Anybody have any comments or questions for anybody that gave some tips.
I'd like to see more people at EXPCON next year. I felt like we were missing
Yeah.
a whole bunch of people. I felt in the years past there were at least more people locally that I knew, even from the Tampa market. I don't know how you guys felt about that, but encourage your fellow.
Yeah, and I also thought I know some that were signed up that didn't come, and I know that Tampa area has had 2 huge storms, and
Yep,
that's
yep.
really affected a lot of people, and I know that, and there's just been a lot of stress going on with it, and also too just the market. Some agents are getting out of the business, and which I think is wonderful because that means that there's more opportunity for those of us that are really full time. And I can't tell you, Doug and I, we lost a $3 million listing a year or so ago because the person called up and we even found that house, and we even told her to when she needed to sell it, that she didn't need this because blah blah blah, all this stuff, all this consulting going on, and then we get a call. Oh, I need to throw my best friend, throw her one, I think is what she said it, because her best friend just got her license, and that was a $3 million sale. And we even, Doug said, well, let's co-list it with her, and I was like, oh no, she's working with some team or something. Anyway, a year later, the agent was not in the business. So it excites me that some agents are going to be getting out. I've always thought our costs need to be double or triple to keep people out. But anyway, yeah, to your point, I really hope everybody goes because you just get so much. And there's the more, usually what it is 9 to 12 is a general session with everybody sitting in, and then the afternoons they're breakout sessions of 30 to 50 to 200 people in a classroom type thing. And some of them that I went to, that we all kind of went to together at the last minute there, we couldn't even get in because they were full to capacity. And so those I'm going to try to find the recordings because I'm sure they're there, and I'll put them on our workplace group.
Yep.
Anybody
I'll
else
add
have any
this.
questions?
Yeah, Chuck, I'll just add this. My attitude going into EXPCon this year was not the best. Usually I'm pretty hyped about it. This year I wasn't that hype about it, and I wasn't excited about going to Miami. But once I got there and got engaged and started, networking and engaging in the trainings, my attitude changed very quickly. And one more thing, you don't have to spend a ton of money. You can spend whatever you want. I've gone to when we did the Mirage, I got the suite and the upgrades and everything really nice, and spent a ton of money. This year, I bought an early bird ticket and I stayed at a hotel that was right across the street that was super cheap. It was clean. And it was all I needed. And my budget, I mean, the whole thing, I would say everything, gas, everything included, was definitely under $1,500 total with everything I spent. So I didn't have to spend a lot and was able to really get a lot out of it. Definitely got more out of it than I spent. And always do. I always get a deal when I'm there. Everybody knows when you go out of town, you always get a deal. But you also will build relationships with agents who will send you referrals. A big bulk of my work is from that. So go.
Yeah,
if
I've
you're on the
always
fence.
gotten a deal, at least one deal for every event I've gone to. And the other thing too is, if you budget for the whole year, it's going to be a year from now. And here's the first thing you need to do. This is what a lot of people don't do. Put it on your calendar. Block out October 19th to the 22nd so that you don't get to August and go, oh, I can't go now because I said I would do, blah, blah, blah. You got to plan for it. And it's the best money spent, it really is. And it's good that we can do this, at least for people that can go, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. And the people you can meet and go from there. So anyway, anybody else have any comments or questions? We're going over a little hour here, so I know we got to save your time. So go back and watch this if you didn't, write things down or whatever. But I'll try to maybe make some notes that we can. I've got Kevin's notes, and I took notes from Renee and Rob and Doug, and I'll put them together so we'll have something. So, all right. Well, listen. Have a great holiday. Thank you. And I remember from Leo's message, he said he kind of predicted I think it was a 10% increase for 2025. Wasn't it, Kevin? 10%?
Yes.
Yeah, in inventory.
In inventory, yeah. So, we know we should have another rate cut next month. or two, I think. And then in 2025, and traditionally after an election, prices go up and interest rates come down. So let's take advantage of it. All right. Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great week.
You guys.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.